The New Testament in a year, with Psalms and Proverbs. Day 27, Mark 15, verses 1 to 20. Jesus before Pilate. Early in the morning, the chief priests met hurriedly with the elders, the teachers of the law, and the whole council, and made their plans. They put Jesus in chains, led him away, and handed him over to Pilate. Pilate questioned him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" Jesus answered, "So you say." The chief priests were accusing Jesus of many things, so Pilate questioned him again. "Aren't you going to answer? Listen to all their accusations." Again, Jesus refused to say a word, and Pilate was amazed. Jesus is sentenced to death. At every Passover festival, Pilate was in the habit of setting free any one prisoner the people asked for. At that time, a man named Barabbas was in prison with the rebels who had committed murder in the riot. When the crowd gathered and began to ask Pilate for the usual favor, he asked them, "Do you want me to set free for you the king of the Jews?" He knew very well that the chief priest had handed Jesus over to him because they were jealous. But the chief priests stirred up the crowd to ask, instead, that Pilate set Barabbas free for them. Pilate spoke again to the crowd. "What, then, do you want me to do with the one you call the king of the Jews?" They shouted back, "Crucify him!" "But what crime has he committed?" Pilate asked. They shouted all the louder, "Crucify him!" Pilate wanted to please the crowd, so he set Barabbas free for them. Then he had Jesus whipped and handed him over to be crucified. The soldiers make fun of Jesus. The soldiers took Jesus inside to the courtyard of the governor's palace and called together the rest of the company. They put a purple robe on Jesus, made a crown out of thorny branches, and put it on his head. Then they began to salute him. "Long live the King of the Jews!" They beat him over the head with a stick, spat on him, fell on their knees, and bowed down to him. When they had finished making fun of him, they took off the purple robe and put his own clothes back on him. Then they led him out to crucify him. Proverbs 26. Praise for a fool is out of place, like snow in summer or rain at harvest time. Curses cannot hurt you unless you deserve them. They are like birds that fly by and never light. You have to whip a horse, you have to bridle a donkey, and you have to beat a fool. If you answer a silly question, you are just as silly as the person who asked it. Give a silly answer to a silly question, and the one who asked it will realize that he's not as smart as he thinks. If you let a fool deliver a message, you might as well cut off your own feet. You are asking for trouble. A fool can use a proverb about as well as crippled people can use their legs. Praising someone who is stupid makes as much sense as tying a stone in a sling. A fool quoting a wise saying reminds you of a drunk trying to pick a thorn out of his hand. An employer who hires any fool that comes along is only hurting everybody concerned. A fool doing some stupid thing a second time is like a dog going back to its vomit. The most stupid fool is better off than those who think they are wise when they are not. Why don't lazy people ever get out of the house? What are they afraid of? Lions? Lazy people turn over in bed. They get no farther than a door swinging on its hinges. Some people are too lazy to put food in their own mouths. A lazy person will think he is smarter than 7 men who can give good reasons for their opinions. Getting involved in an argument that is none of your business is like going down the street and grabbing a dog by the ears. Someone who tricks someone else and then claims that he was only joking is like a crazy person playing with a deadly weapon. Without wood, a fire goes out. Without gossip, quarreling stops. Charcoal keeps the embers glowing, wood keeps the fire burning, and troublemakers keep arguments alive. Gossip is so tasty, how we love to swallow it. Insincere talk that hides what you are really thinking is like a fine glaze on a cheap clay pot. A hypocrite hides hate behind flattering words. They may sound fine, but don't believe him, because his heart is filled to the brim with hate. He may disguise his hatred, but everyone will see the evil things he does. People who set traps for others get caught themselves. People who start landslides get crushed. You have to hate someone to want to hurt him with lies. Insincere talk brings nothing but ruin. Proverbs 27. Never boast about tomorrow. You don't know what will happen between now and then. Let other people praise you, even strangers. Never do it yourself. The weight of stone and sand is nothing compared to the trouble that stupidity can cause. Anger is cruel and destructive, but it is nothing compared to jealousy. Better to correct someone openly than to let him think you don't care for him at all. Friends mean well, even when they hurt you. But when an enemy puts his arm around your shoulder, watch out. When you are full, you will refuse honey. But when you are hungry, even bitter food tastes sweet. Anyone away from home is like a bird away from its nest. Perfume and fragrant oils make you feel happier, but trouble shatters your peace of mind. Do not forget your friends or your father's friends. If you are in trouble, don't ask a relative for help. A nearby neighbor can help you more than relatives who are far away. Be wise, my child, and I will be happy. I will have an answer for anyone who criticizes me. Sensible people will see trouble coming and avoid it, but an unthinking person will walk right into it and regret it later. Any people stupid enough to promise to be responsible for a stranger's debts deserves to have their own property held to guarantee payment. You might as well curse your friends as wake them up early in the morning with a loud greeting. A nagging wife is like water going drip, drip, drip on a rainy day. How can you keep her quiet? Have you ever tried to stop the wind or ever tried to hold a handful of oil? People learn from one another, just as an iron sharpens iron. Take care of a fig tree and you will have figs to eat. Servants who take care of their masters will be honored. It is your own face that you see reflected in the water, and it is your own self that you see in your heart. Human desires are like the world of the dead. There is always room for more. Fire tests gold and silver. A person's reputation can also be tested. Even if you beat fools half to death, you still can't beat their foolishness out of them. Look after your sheep and cattle as carefully as you can, because wealth is not permanent. Not even nations last forever.